How y'all doing this evening? This is Renee. Took me a little nap and got up, and I'm wanting biscuits. Some good old Southern Buttermilk biscuits. I thought, well, I just thought I'd let y'all watch me make some. How about that? So I hope y'all can follow along pretty well. I'm sure to do my best for y'all to follow along with me. I got some prep work done for you already. I won't make you watch the whole long thing, but you'll understand how it goes. Now I've already got, we'll start with 2½ cups of self-rising flour. I've already got a 1½ cups in here. I'll measure out my next cup. There's a little trick in measuring the flour on this plate, so I didn't measure the whole thing. When you use your scoop of measuring cup in your flour, you go down there and you don't mash it down. You go down, you get a big old heaping full of flour. You carefully just get it good and heaped up on the flour. Alright? And as you come out, you can see it's not level. Take your knife, the back side, the flat side. Alright? Take your knife and go across the top of it, all the way down. Make sure it's good and even. Get your good cup of flour. If you get in there and mash it and do this, you're going to pack your flour, and it's going to be a heavier flour, and you'll get too much flour. And so I'll put it in here, into my bowl. Now the flour I choose is self-rising. I happen to use Martha White. There's a difference in flours. Sorry, it's a little noisy. There's a little difference in flours. I'll tell you about the flours real quick. On your flour, some brands are not always as equal as others. Most self-rising flours you can use for anything a recipe would call self-rising flour for. My area doesn't get White Lily. White Lily is a famous, good, favorite brand of flour. Well, Martha White is made by the same company, so I use Martha White because that's the area that I can get. In my area, I can get Martha White. Now, Martha White and White Lily is a lower protein flour, where it's not a heavy baking recipe, which if you use it, it doesn't make things heavy. So you want your biscuits always to be good, light, and fluffy. So, also, if you don't use your self-rising, you can use your all-purpose, your plain flour, by adding your baking soda and your salt to it. You can look that up to see about what the measurements are on that, because I always use self-rising flour. So I don't really know them off the top of my head, but I can always find out for you if you ever need to know. Now, when I use, if I ever use an off-brand that's not my Martha White, they're a heavier flour. They're higher in protein. So your biscuit's going to be a little heavier. So what I've always learned to do before I found out a difference in flour, I would use a little bit extra baking powder. I started playing with my recipes until I found the right amount of baking powder I would like for the off-brand self-rising flours. Well, even when I use this flour, Martha White, I use a little baking powder still yet, but I use just a little smidge. I don't use the same amount. Now, off-brand self-rising, I would use a 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. Now, with this brand Martha White or White Lily, I personally like about a 1/2 teaspoon, maybe about 3/4 of a teaspoon, just a little smidge. I'll put it on top of my flour. Doesn't take much, not much at all. That's just what I like. This is what I, and it makes a biscuit perfectly well without it. It's all in what you like. The heaviness and the smallness of your biscuit. Now another thing that you don't have to do, but I like to do because it makes my biscuits a little extra fluffier. I get my little sifter, my little, whatever kind of sifter you have, and I kind of sift out my flour. Makes it even lighter and fluffier. And I get it all coming out. Get it all done. I probably should have done most of this before I turned y'all on, but I didn't. But you can see what all I go through. Not hard. You just have your patience. Anything you do with your cooking, you have patience with your meal. And if you enjoy doing it, make it with love, can't go wrong. And if you do, you learn something. You learn what to do, what not to do in your next recipe, haven't you? That's how we learn to cook. You just get in there, keep on trying. Alright, now, I got all that sifted out. Get that on my way. Now the flour and the baking soda is all mixed together. Next, you're going to cut into your 1 stick of butter. And I've already got my butter all cubed up. One little step less I had to do behind the scenes. So take the cubed up butter and I put it in to my flour. Now, there are many ways you can mix your flour and your butter together. I like to use the old-fashioned pastry cutter. Some people use 2 knives together. Some people will use 2 forks together. Some people get in there with their hands and they mix it up with their hands. They'll mix it up with their hands like this by just tossing their butter in there, and they'll get the butter and they'll squeeze the butter like this together. And they'll mix it together like that. And they'll just keep on working it until it comes into like a cornmeal crumbly texture. Me, I like to go ahead and just use my little pastry cutter, and I do that. And you just cut it all in there, bit by bit, into your flour until it's all good and work together. And you go in there and you take out your butter, bit by bit. It's all work together. I don't know about y'all, but if y'all ever had homemade scratch biscuits, oh, you don't know what you're missing. You do not know what you're missing. Because they are wonderful to eat. Slap you on some butter or some homemade jam or some good old southern pepper gravy, sausage gravy. All kinds of things you can do with your biscuits. All kinds of ways to serve them up. Your breakfast meal, or any other meal you make. Your supper, your lunch. So, you need to get in your kitchen, ladies, or gentlemen. Make you some homemade biscuits. And if you don't get it on the first try, don't worry about it. Don't worry. Don't worry. You just keep on trying. I guarantee you, you'll enjoy them a lot more. And so will your family. And scrape your bowl up a little bit. Go all the way to the bottom. Make sure all that flour and that butter is mixed together. It's good and crumbly. No big chunks. And I'll show you just a little minute here what they look like. Just about gather all work together. Now, I'll show you. See how it's all a little farther away than I would have liked the camera to be, but in order to get the full effect of what's going on. But it's just real crumbly. It's real crumbly in there with that flour. Glasses are falling down. So, put my flour aside and my baking powder aside and my cup aside. Now, milk. The milk you put in here You can either use your buttermilk if you have buttermilk, which I use both, buttermilk and one other thing I'm about to show you that I use sometimes. Now, I don't have buttermilk, which today I didn't. You can use your sweet milk with 2 tablespoons of either your white vinegar or your lemon juice into your milk that you do ahead of time, about 10 minutes before while you're doing all this and getting all ready to go. Your milk will be ready by the time you're ready for it. Put your milk in there and stir it up and set it aside and start curdling to make it like a buttermilk, like a substitute. Works perfect, absolutely perfect. The same way as your buttermilk does. So you make a little well in your bowl, stir your milk up, your buttermilk, pour it in there. Alright? I got my little rubber spatula. You use this rubber spoon, whatever you like to use that you're comfortable with. These are the tools that I'm comfortable with. I'm going to mix it all together. Just keep on folding it in. Everything's mixed together. It's going to look crumbly. It's not going to look like it's mixed in too well. Well, it'll be alright. I put about a few tablespoons extra milk in my bowl, 1 cup of buttermilk. I usually use about a cup and a couple of tablespoons of extra milk. So that's just the wetness I like. So you keep on working it until you get all that loose flour that's got some wetness to that milk, to that mixture. Alright, now you put you some extra flour onto your surface so you can knead your biscuits. A little much for there, but it'll be alright. Some of this flour I'm going to use for my biscuit cutter here. Because you want to make sure when you use your biscuit cutter, make sure you dip it in your flour to where it will not stick when you cut your biscuits, okay? Part my glass to keep up on. So I'll have to scoop some aside because I'll use some more of it in a minute here. Alrighty. Roll this mixture out here. Okay. Alright. Now, get it all worked together. All mashed together. Put just a little flour and sprinkle on top so you can work with it and it won't stick to your hands. Okay? All work together. Turn it over and make sure it doesn't stick. Now what you can do is you knead it. Some people will just knead and fold, knead and fold. You can fold it different ways. You can fold it in half. You can fold it in threes. You can work it into a rectangle. You fold it and knead it I do about 3 to 4 different times. When you're doing this, you're folding it and doing this, you're creating your flaky layered biscuits that way. That's how you're creating your layered biscuit effect when you're doing that. Alright? Now, I did it twice there. We're going to do it. Fold it again. Alrighty. Now, one more time. A good feel of it. The way it feels. When you do it enough, you kind of know what feels right and what looks right. Now, if you've done your folding and your layers about 3 or 4 times, you can either use a rolling pin, or use a little bottle, or you can just use your hands. Whichever you like to do. it all will work. Our hand sometimes can be our best tool. I could have gotten my rolling pin and I didn't go grab it. And I carefully work it out. And one thing, I took here talking to y'all, I forgot to do something. I want to show you. I get my cast iron pan and I slather my lard all over it to grease it. My oven has been heating to 475. And it's got to heat up that pan. And I should have already done that when I'm talking to you. I get to talking. Sometimes I forget. It'll heat up here in a minute. And I'll take it out. And I'll place my biscuits on there. Now, ordinarily if I have my pan here, as I'm cutting my biscuits out, I put it on there. I'll just flip them to the side. That'll be alright. Alrighty. I'll sit right out here in front so y'all can see them as I'm cutting them. Now, some people swear by the way you cut your biscuits, if you're going to have your biscuits rise or not. You want to try to not really twist your biscuit cutter. Because if you twist it, you're kind of sealing those ends. When it rises, they won't always rise evenly too well. It's best if you can kind of go down and cut it. And I might kind of shake it a little bit, kind of get it to separate from the other ends. Got your 6 biscuits there. And while the stickiness is, don't put any more flour on this because you want your biscuits mixture, the biscuit dough to stick together. Alright, then you pull this all together. Roll it over and get you a few more biscuits. Don't waste anything. Heavens, no, we don't waste anything. Biscuits I get out of this dough. Alright. Okay. Now get me a little scrap, what I call scrap biscuits. With the dough left over. Just kind of get it all put together. You know, shape it into a biscuit. Okay, you need to cut that biscuit and just get it all shaped together. You got yourself a little scrap biscuit. You place her there and she'll be just fine. So I've got 9 biscuits there that we'll have. Alright. Now, let's see. My pan is heated up enough to put them on there. I do believe it has. Alright. Look at there. I don't want that flour on the bottom, so I'll put something underneath it. Now, put this little scrap biscuit, I'll put it right in the center. So all the rest of them, all around it. Alrighty. We'll get them all worked in here. And we'll make them fit one way or another. There we go. Got her in there. Now, right back back in there. And you put the bacon at 475 for 10 minutes until golden brown. So you check it for 10 minutes. If they look golden brown the way you like them, then you take them out. If they're not quite golden brown enough, what I usually do, about a minute before they're ready, I have me some melted butter to the side. I pull my rack out, I put some melted butter on top of them. Or you can do it when you take them out. Total preference. Put them back in there. They'll get nice and golden brown for you. Take them out and enjoy them with whatever meal you've made. We'll come back here in a little bit and I'll show you what they look like. Alright? We'll clean the list up while we're doing that. I'll be back. Biscuits are ready. Let's see what they look like. How about that? Oh my goodness. Woo! Good and tall. Turn the oven off. I forget that. Some are taller than others. Nothing has to be perfect. They're gonna be good. What do y'all think? Think they're a winner? Think they'll be alright to eat? I think they're fit to eat for sure. Now, here's my melted butter. I'll put over them. Here's that hot pan just a sizzling. You know that sucker's hot. I got just enough. Ah, perfect. All right. Now, see what else I did while I was waiting for them to cook. We'll move these biscuits aside here, and I'll show you just a minute what I did. In the meantime, I'm gonna grab me a biscuit. Look at this really tall one right here. Look at there. Mercy. Oh, look how flaky, y'all. And tall that is. I don't know if y'all can see it well enough. I made some homemade pepper gravy. I normally like sausage gravy, but I don't have sausage tonight, so that's alright. We're going to put some pepper gravy over this biscuit. And that is going to be my supper, y'all. Oh, goodness. Fit for a king. And one day, I will come in here and I'll show you how to make milk gravy, sausage gravy, pepper gravy, all that. Couldn't do it when my camera was paused though. But I'll show you how to make it again. It's going to be good, y'all. Good night.